Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobes show with me, the one and only Richard Vobes, live on the 8th of January 2020 to 2000 and I don't know what it is, but it's live, and here we are, 8 o'clock in the UK time. Splendid, and look at me, dressed up for the part this evening, and it's lovely to see you. Thank you for stopping by and popping in. We have out there the lovely Emily Champion I've just spotted. Hello, Emily Champion. Finally, she says, I've got a notification. It's not like you know when the show is on, of course. I mean, we have a bit of a mystery about where we turn up. We put ourselves on a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Obscure part of the internet, and we don't tell anybody what, on a regular basis where we're going to appear, Emily. So, it's very, very difficult. But anyway, it's lovely to see you up there in the suburbs of London. London, where the smoke is. It's very nice up there in the do they, they don't have smoke up there anymore? Oh, apparently they don't have, are you sure about that? I thought they had big chimneys and, oh, that was back in the Victorian era. Beg your pardon. Anyway, it's lovely to see you there. Who else have we got? Stephen Agger. Hello to you, Stephen Agger. It's very nice to see you. Andy Stacey has arrived. Good to see you. Marriott Genealogy. Hello, everybody. Fiona Cooper. The lovely Julia, of course. Where in Sussex? Tie. He says tie. What's with the tie? Emily Champion says groovy tie. Thank you very much. These are characters from... I don't know where they're from, actually. Hang on a minute. Let's just examine the tie. It's that moment in the show where we examine the tie. There we are. Do you recognise any of these characters? They are there. Hope that's not copyrighted or anything. Stephen Musco, smart boy today. It's Wednesday show. I haven't got the lovely Julia next to me to smarten up the show, so I've got to sort of try and make a bit of an effort. Tim Williams, looking very dapper. Thank you very much. Jürgen is there. Good evening to all. Lovely to see you. Jeff Kellison is looking very sharp. Well, apparently I have an image. I have an image to keep up. That's the truth of it. D for Bricks is there. Nigel Sadler, hello to you. Mickey Baines, it's very nice. Robert Baxter, hello Rob. How's it going? Stephen Richards, colour coded suit, shirt and tie, very smart. Thank you very much indeed. I just thought I would, when I'm doing them on my own, these shows, I've got a number of jackets and things and old costumes and bits and pieces that I never wear, and I thought, I've got to take the dust off them. Why not wear it in the show is what I figured. Tasmanian Devil, is that what it is? Is that what they look like? Good blimey. Stephen Richards says tax, very taxing, I can tell you, tax. Tap Manic Devil says Tasmanian, I think that's what you mean, isn't it? Peter May says, very formal tonight. Yes, a very formal evening. I'd like to make several announcements in today's show in a very formal fashion, if that's all right. Jeff Kennison says, Looney Tunes. Well, I'm loony all over, don't you know? You knew that, though. You knew that. On tonight's show, we are going to unravel a new thing that has been arrived by Nigel Sadler. And I can tell you, the clue is in the bag. Here it came to me. How it got to me, I don't know, because my address was covered up. But this is a lovely big thing here. The address is covered up. So we're gonna reveal what's in the bag in the show. We're also going to. I'm going to try something in today's show. I'm going to try something sent in just before Christmas. The lovely Kent and Sussex Tea Company sent in some special tea and coffee, and tonight I'm going to try. Hold on, let's get the special remote camera out here. Tonight I'm going to try a little bit of this Rooibos Christmas tea. Now, I've heard of this Rooibos stuff. My dad used to drink it. I did try it once. It was disgusting. But I thought I'd give this a whirl. I'm going to brew up some live in the show. We don't like to do things live in this show. It says here for Christmas time. I know Christmas has been and gone, but there we are. He says that Mickey Bain says, I bet you're sitting there with a jacket and tie and a pair of shorts. Absolutely. I have actually got fishnet tights on just below, but I can't reveal that. You don't pay me enough. It says, for Christmas time, we offer this fabulous red bush tea, dedicated, scented with flowers flavours of Christmas. Our Rooibos is caffeine-free and has excellent antioxidant properties. I would like to know what you've got against oxidants. There's a lot of things that are against oxidants, isn't there? They're so anti their oxidants. What is an oxidant and why should you be anti it? That's what I want to know. Who is anti? I might be controversial in tonight's show and be for the oxidants. I don't like accidents, but oxidants might be a good thing. I don't like to be told. Are you one of these people that, you hear about the latest film and you think, oh my God, I've got to go and see that film. And you believe the hype and then you come away and you don't know whether you like. The media and the savvy people, the influencers on YouTube and Instagram are the ones that tell you what you must like, how you must think. Everyone's telling you don't think for yourselves anymore. It's a bit of a shame. And it was great to see the Golden Globes recently when Ricky Gervais put everybody in their place. Wasn't that hilarious? Wasn't that funny? I don't get the television. I can't understand why anybody would want to sit for 3 hours and watch a bunch of professionals receive prizes for things that they did right. You see a road mender in the street mending a road, you see a bricklayer laying a brick. They don't go off to some swanky party just to be going, do you know what? You laid that brick right. So, that brick was laid so well, I'm going to give you this globe of gold. It is a ridiculous idea, these people being given these, I just don't understand it. But anyway, so I'm going to try some of this Rooibos tea. It says brew with water at 75 to 80 degrees. How do you know when it's 75 to 80 degrees and not 100 degrees? I'm going to boil the kettle. Infuse for 3 to 5 minutes. The liquor in the cup is bright with a ruby-rich red colour, festive spicy aroma with delicious notes of sweet orange and clove. I'm fully cloved tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Think Police, says Emily Champion. That's right, the Think Police. We're all being told what to think and how to go about our business. Are you somebody who goes when you hear about the hype and you think, oh, I must go and see that wonderful show Cats? Or are you somebody who thought, well, actually, that sounds like a load of old rubbish? D for Bricks is out there. Hello, D for Bricks. Kevin Hall says, who the hell is the posh bloke I'm looking at on my laptop? He's never seen me looking smart, you see. But that's true. But I do try to look smart on occasion. Good evening, Cynthia's camera. Hello to you. That's the lovely Cynthia Walder up there in Hazelmere. I was going to say that is a pond full of nuts, isn't it? A Hazelmere must be. Needs no explanation. And you're not getting one. Mere Genealogy says oxidants are free radicals. Free the radicals! That's what I say. Release them. They were once up against the wall when the revolution came, but we should release them and let them go free. They've been locked up. Those radicals, off you go, boys and girls. Enjoy yourselves. Poke your eyes out and have a bit of fun. Kim Murden says, no sheep people here, I think. No, none of you lot are sheep. You're all independent thinkers. Even Mr. Pilfold. Independent thinkers, and that's what we like. Linda Kane says, I think Richard is a bit of a free the radicals! I don't actually. Could somebody define what a radical is? I would love to know what that means. Because there's a lot of these buzzwords. If you notice, there's all these sort of different buzzwords that people... And I have absolutely no idea. When I went to my school, Forest School for Boys... Well, it was Forest Boys when I went. And then when I left, they changed it to Forest School for Boys. It was a boys' school. But we were just a 1970s comprehensive CSE exams. That's all we had. Certificate of Secondary Education. Not the GCS. I don't know what G stood for. I think it stood for General, didn't it? Kim Murden says, Free Radicals sounds like a group from Lewis. That's true. Bellringer says, I have to say you're wearing a blazer just because I used to wear one at school. Same colour. There you are. I may have gone to your school, don't you know. Peter May says, love watching Richard on my 75-inch telly you got for Christmas. It's like you're in the room now, Richard. Oh, fantastic. There we are. I am in the room. Make us a cup of tea, would you? A bit of Rui Boo would be nice. Tim Williams says, everyone seems against gluten. I love a big slab of it. Yes, I put a bit of gluten. I had some in a tin, but I couldn't get the glue out of it. It was a right pain. Robert Croser says, People's Front of Judea. Yes, they're the ones. Talking of People's Front of Judea, here's a little bit of Monty Python for you, just so you know. That's the Holy Grail. I know, wrong film, but never mind. Claire Leach says, what are you wearing? What do you mean, what am I wearing? This is a lovely jacket. It's real, 100% real wool. This is a yellow shirt sent in by America. And this is a tie that I've had for donkey's years. I can't remember where I got it. But they were all on a rack. Not in Iraq. They were not like Iran, which is near Iraq. Did you hear about the Iran thing? The Iran debacle? There's the President Trump going off and making a big assassination of some really nasty bloke. And Iran decides, do you know what? We're going to retaliate. So they go and say, right, we're going to retaliate. And they ring up the Americans and they say, we're going to retaliate and blow up these 2 bases of yours. You might want to move the people out. So the Americans move the people out. They go and blow up the bases. So no Americans are actually killed. But they don't tell the Iran people they've done that. Their own people, and they make out it's a safe-facing exercise. A hilarious situation out there. Nigel Sadler is saying, Judean People's Front. Mark Selwood says, I don't done A-levels, don't you know? Yes, it's like the Morecambe and Wise thing about the play What I Wrote. Hello, Claire, says Kevin Hall. Hello, Claire, by the way. Mark Selwood says, hi, D for Bricks. D for Bricks says, how are you, Mark? And Julia Hartley says, hello, newer arrivals. And it's nice to see them. I would like to do my walk in the spring, says the lovely Claire. She must have got my email this morning, so that's good. Fantastic. We'll do that in the spring. That's marvellous. Linda Kane says, radical is the first part of a seeding to emerge from a seed. Oh, so I didn't. Is Mr. Suggett there? He could have told me that. He's into growing and stuff. Was it from Tyrac? Who remembers them? Or Sock Shop? Oh yes, the tie from Tyrac. They were the days, weren't they? You couldn't go past a London tube station without going past Tyrac or the Sock Shop. You know. Next, I think, there is a shop called Next as well, isn't there? But the next item that they should be selling is Y-fronts. You know, you've got Tyrac, Sock Shop, Y-fronts, and maybe G-strings. G-strings, you know, that would be a very popular one to have on a tube station, I would imagine. Francisco Bellringer is just using the word that he keeps repeating. I have no idea why he keeps saying it. So, and he's asked somebody else to stop spamming, and all he does is say, why do you keep saying that word? What is it with you? Explain yourself. Ernie Smart says, Talio, Richard, Talio, receiving you loud and clear. Marvellous. Well, I'm very pleased to say that 15 minutes into the show, and that's terrific. Peter May say, guess what the picture is, Richard's bring back asbestos. Is that what you're saying? Bring back asbestos. That's what I would like to see. Right. So we're gonna do a number of things in today's show, but I want to get the tea going on first. Don't need this for a moment. Let me get a shot of that. It's a very important piece of apparatus. That is a wireless keyboard. You may not have heard of that. It's a newfangled thing. Comes straight in from America. Emily Champion says, why not? Guess what the... Oh, read that. F says Francisco Bellringer, apropos of nothing. Mark Selwood says, you are the Master Robert. We're all praying down to the Master Robert. Don't know what that is. Robert Croser says, Roger Delargo. He was the Master, wasn't he? The Master in Doctor Who. And a brilliant actor. Did you ever see him in any other films? I saw him once in another film. And he was in a bit part in another film. And it was very disconcerting because I thought the Master had arrived in that film. That's a Doctor Who thing for those people who are unable to do that. D for Brick says, thanks very much for sticking up for you. Absolutely no problem there, Daniel. Emily Champion says, bring back licking lead paint. Yes, what was that? We want our water supply in lead paint. And you know, if only more hatters would use mercury. when making their hats. That would be a good thing, I think, for everybody. We're just going to be one of the new radicals. New radicals? Free radicals? Whatever they are. Francisco Belridge says, Richard, F to pay respect to the families and friends and victims of Ukraine Air Flight 725 that crashed very recently. What do you mean F? What does F? What's the F mean? I don't know what you're talking about. That's why I typed F. F, I don't understand it. F, I mean, that's like code, isn't it? F, I mean, one letter of the alphabet, unless anybody understands what you're talking about. It's meaningless, what's his name? He was a respected actor, never out of work. Yes, good old Roger Del, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Delargo. Is it Delgado? Play-Doh. I remember Play-Doh, but now, of course, it's Gay-Doh. You've got to be of a certain sexual persuasion to play with the soft putty these days. Maybe it's because they put it in certain places that we can't go to on this show. He was respected. Mark Selwood says you need to give David Bryan from Talking Heads his jacket back. Well, he can have it back at the end of the show. Right, we're going to make up... we're going to make this sodding tea if it kills me. So, of course, I'm doing this live. We'd like to do it live on the show, of course. So, I've got more of that nuclear explosion about to go off. So, we may end up assassinating another Iranian bad guy. That can easily happen in this show. I forget how this thing works. Normally, the lovely Julia puts this together, and I can't quite work out how you do it. Do you remember Legs 11? They used to do this. This has got legs. It's the only reason I happen to mention Legs 11. They played with Play-Doh, I think. There we go. Right, we've got that bit going. We've got a kettle. This is a teapot. That doesn't go on there. No, this is the kettle. That goes on there. Like that. We've got the camera here ready for the webcam so we can see what we're doing. Somewhere down here I've got some matches. So we'll get the match of the day sticker on there. Here it goes. Turn on the gas, switch to the webcam. Oh, hang on. Switch to the webcam. Throw the matches away, and the kettle is on now, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very exciting moment in the show. So the next thing to do is to take the skizzers, open up the tea, and let's have a look at the tea. What is Rooibos? Boss. Rooibos, Bush, Bush, Bish, Bosh, Bash. Let's have a look inside a Rooibos packet. That is what it looks like, tobacco to me. Does that look like tobacco? That looks just like tobacco. I bet that's It's got a nice smell, though. I don't know how many teaspoons you're supposed to shove in. What it doesn't do is give you instructions. How many cups of tea do you get out of it? I don't know. So, now, this is a clever little gadget here. I'm sure you're aware of these. You've probably seen these before. This is a teapot here and a cup there. Clever, isn't it? Very clever. I need to get another one of these because this one's got a crack in it. But now somewhere, some enchanted evening, I have got a teaspoon. We will put the teaspoon. I'm going to put one for me, one for the pot, and one for good luck in there. So that's that. We've done that. We'll get rid of that for the minute. So we just got to wait for the kettle to boil up. So whilst the kettle is boiling up, let's have a look at the comments. Mickey Baines says, Richard... Oh, hang on. I've lost it, Mickey. Something about... What? Oh, can you type yours again? I've lost it, Mickey. Stephen Richard says it's a lot easier with an electric kettle. Yeah, we know that. But if I put an electric kettle with all the electricity that's going in here, the whole place will blow up. Stephen Musco says, bang. D for Brick says anything could happen, which is true. Nigel Sadler says we could club together and buy... No, you can't. I've got an electric kettle in the kitchen. I have got one in the kitchen. But the thing about that is it would blow up if there's so much juice being generated here. Kim Murden says we could have some live fireman action. Listen to the roar. Listen to the roar. I don't know if you can hear the roar, but I can feel the heat. Look at that. There we are. It's burning away, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very exciting moment. Dean Cooper says, looks like contraband. Well, I think that's exactly what it is. It's got a nice sort of Christmassy smell, though. You don't need it that strong, says Nigel Sadler. It's a big... I don't know how much to put in. It never says. This one's got a crack in it. Fill it with clunch. That's Emily Champion there. Never a wiser word. I think a nice bit of clunch there. Otherwise, it'll be moist all over the place. Oh my God, that's undrinkable. 3-2. What do you mean undrinkable? I don't. Well, it doesn't say, does it? I don't know how much to put in there. Right. Whilst the kettle is doing its thing. Whilst that's going, I'm going to do a little reading, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes. Anyone see him put water in the kettle? I did put water in the kettle beforehand. Stephen Richards says, I honestly love the quirkiness. What quirkiness in it? This is serious work, you know. Now, whilst that's doing that, I've got this book here called Round About Sussex Downs. It's a marvellous old book, published in 1920-something. I believe. 1925 it was published, written in 1924 by a strange quirk of the imagination. And this is a story about, well, it's not a story, it's the recollections of a bloke who marched about the South Downs around Ditchling and on Ditchling Down, which, funny enough, happened to be the subject of today's video if you looked at the Bald Explorer. And he goes round doing a bit of hunting, looking at the animals, looking at the birds. He's been shooting stoats and catching weasels. He shoots hares. It's very hard read because every time he's walking, he goes, he says, I was out for a walk in the evening up on the downs and I saw this hare and I went herring after the hare and then I shot it. And I think, blimey, that's a bit much, isn't it? Anyway, he talks about dogs. Have a listen to this. Dogs in general, and particularly terriers, have always been a great favourite with me. I will give a few reminiscences of some of the sport I've had with them. He says, I won't dwell long on my first terrier, a foundling, whose chief attribute was being able to bite a clean hole in a pair of trousers, and that without provocation. My second is almost as easily disposed of having been bought for a sixpence without the proverbial pint from a travelling cobbler. He liked every house in the village better than mine, but his death sentence was issued when he amused himself by attending service at the parish church on Sunday afternoon. At the commencement of the singing, he raised his head heavenwards and his voice likewise, and tried to outdo the congregation. But, as an old labourer present told me afterwards, he didn't know how to keep in step with the organ. He was buried on Monday morning. He died, you see. He died. Anyway, there's more fun and games in that. That's talking about dogs. We've almost got this boiling now. Let's go to the boil cam and just see how the kettle is doing on the boil cam. Oh, hang on. There it is. Look at that. We've got puffs of smoke coming out, but no sound as yet. We want the whistle. Here it comes. Here comes the whistle. Whilst that's going, I had a tinkle here. Little message. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at some point when the kettle, I can't see anything. When the kettle has boiled, it will make us. Oh yeah, there we are. Let's have a look on the whistle cam. Yes, I think that's boiled. Probably too loud, isn't it? We turn that off now. Whew. Right, now what do we do? Oh yes, we've got to pour the hot water. We've got to pour the hot water into the can, into the thing. So ow, that's warm. This is one of the joys of doing this live, ladies and gentlemen. We have warm. Ow, that's not just warm, it's boiled. Right, okay, hang on. We'll just get the webcam ready here. Oh, hello down there. Cool truth. And we're pouring it in. Bit more for the. I think most of that went over the side. And there is the smell, ladies and gentlemen. I've got the smell coming through now. Give that a little bit of a stir. Like that. Oh, just a minute. Let's move the camera down there. Made a bit of a mess there, ladies and gentlemen. And so we'll just give that a few minutes. It says 3 to 4 minutes to boil. So obviously we better let that, we'll shove that back on the cup there. We'll take that away. And we'll take this out of the way. Ouch! Camping stove, very hot, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Camping stove, very hot. We'll just clean up the decks here. I did manage to bring a cloth into the studio. In fact, it's here from the other day. Right, so whilst that is doing the brew, let's have a quick look at the comments. And we've got Richard's house is on fire. Call the fire brigade. Kim Murden says it won't be 80 degrees now. No, it's slowly cooling. It'll get down to 80 in a minute. Julia says, one more joke about setting on fire and I'm going to be the one who blows. Oh, poor. Don't upset the lovely Julia. Cheap face lift method, says Stephen Richards. Cheap face lift. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means. Emily Champion says, did you warm the pot first? I'm not a hen. You know, a hen would sit on his egg, wouldn't he? And keep it warm. I don't know whether you get male hens. Mark Selwood says, Richard's getting nice and steamy. Yes. Emily Champion's going asthma. Asthma? D for Bricks, what do you expect, Richard, apart from hot water? Yes, well, I'm hoping that it'll be a nice flavoured tea, in fact. This Rory Bruce, or whatever his name is. Mark Donnelly MacLeod, here we are, the voice of reason. He says he's got my kettle again, just been boiled. That usually means hot, Richard. Yes, thanks. Boiling hot water, legs, ouch. Just checking there's no fire going on down there. Oh my God, says Kevin Sadler. That will be undrinkable. What do you mean it will be undrinkable? I'm following there's no instructions to follow, to be honest with you. I think he's showing us it can't be trusted to make us a cup of tea. Don't bother to pop round my house for a cup of tea because actually it will be a disaster. Dave Ford, the lovely Dave Ford and Logan. Logan, get down. And Dave Ford says, no, he doesn't. That's Logan. Get off. Logan's on Dave Ford's computer with his paws. Dave Ford says, this is what happens when he's left unsupervised. Come back, the lovely Julia. Quite right. Come back, the lovely Julia. Could do Sussex as well, I suppose. Mark. Kevin All says he isn't safe and needs supervision. Right. That still need a couple of minutes. We'll just give that a couple of minutes because we're going to do now at 28 minutes past the big reveal, ladies and gentlemen, the big reveal here. We've got this very large envelope. Here it is. Look at that. And inside this envelope, we have a very large thing to bring out. And I have looked in here already. I do know what's in here. Oh, there's a whole load of other stuff in here as well. Hang on. We'll try and get it out. Working as hard as we can, ladies and gentlemen. Working as hard as we can. Trying to get the stuff out of the envelope. Not an easy task. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is the envelope. Look at that. Completely empty.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, love. Right. The question is, what have we got here? We have some plain envelopes. Very nice. We have a letter here. Dear Richard, here's the... £495? Blimey. 495. Take care and have a great 2020. That's charming. I enclose also an invoice. Note, 3 days payment terms, 3 days net. I think we might have to be hollowing for that. Oh yeah, what do we got here? That's very nice. Oh, that's an alternative one. We've got the alternative one here. We might have a look at the alternative one in a minute. Bit of old cardboard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, wow. I have to say, that's very good. Thank you very much for that. Thanks. So let's go and have a quick look now at how the tea is doing, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a look at the tea. So I'm going to just have a look down the spy hole. Let's get the spy hole camera here. This is the spy cam. There it is. We'll just have a look down there very carefully. I don't know. It looks like somebody's pubes on the top there, but I don't think it is. Got a nice smell to it, though, ladies and gentlemen. It's got a nice smell. Now, where did I put the cup? Forgot where I put the cup. Oh. The cup is underneath, isn't it? The cup is underneath. Can we have a purchase, says the lovely Mark. Robert Croser says, I want one. Julia says, Elijah says, hello, good evening. I'm tucking into bed at last. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Nighty, night, Elijah. Robert Croser says he has hacks. I don't know what that means. Big reveal. Yes. What a lovely pot of tea. So let's pull this out. I think that should be... Look, no, now there's the magic of it. There's nothing in there. Nothing in. Not like this. Not like that. Like that. Bottle glass. Bottle glass. Anyway, let's see how the tea goes, shall we? Oh, well, let's get the camera here. Get the camera ready. So we can see into the tea. Here it is. Look at that. Look, isn't that nice? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just raise it up a bit more so you can see into the cup. There we are. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Marvellous. Here it comes then, ladies and gentlemen. Ow. Blimey. It's quite hot. It's quite hot. Trying again. Now, it's supposed to be a sort of reddish colour, and I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is quite a red colour. That is a red colour, actually. One moment. Just to have another look at that, whilst I quickly nip over here. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to leave my seat for one moment. I didn't want you to see the fishnet tights. I want to keep this relatively dry, if that's at all possible. So there is our tea. RT, that stands for radio transmitter in the technical days of old times. David Keel says, good night to Elijah. Good night, Elijah. Where in Sussex says, well strained. Thank you very much. Deborah Martin says, tea strainer needed. I just let gravity do it. Gravity will eventually let them all drop down there. Where's your tea, Cozy? No, I was snug. In Snug and Cozy, the TV series that I had. My mate was Cozy. But where's my tea? It's just here, right in front of me, which is very nice. Mark Sewer says, shouldn't you be using a strainer? I use my teeth. Oh, I use my teeth. Matches the jacket and tie. Yes, it does actually, doesn't it? Let's just have another look at that. Look, the colour matches the jacket and tie, which is good because I'm a bit of a dribbler. And if it dribbles down there, we'll be all right. So that's okay. Judith says, going to get a mouthful of tea leaves. Well, I'd rather you didn't. Now let's do the first of all. We'll do the smell test, the aroma test. Here we are. Well, actually, it's got a better aroma from over here than right up. If you get your snout too close to it, it's not quite as good. And if you get your snout too level with it, it can go right up your nose, which is probably not so good. Everyone's talking about tea strainers. Not quite sure what you're talking about there, because it looks pretty... Look at this. It looks pretty clear to me. Oops. Doesn't that look clear? Look how clear. I mean, there's a little bit on the top there, but they're just hair shavings. Nothing to worry about at all. Nothing to worry about. So let's go and have a... We get on this is the sip cam, ladies and gentlemen, the sip cam. Here's the sip cam, look. Not very good sip cam, actually. I'm going to axe that. Here, we try it with this one. I'm just, hang on. Got a strange flavour, isn't it? This what's it called? Robbie Boo, Rooibos. It's a bit of a disappointment, to be honest with you. It's quite pleasant. It's quite pleasant, actually. It's growing on. You see, the point was, I had the choice If I really didn't like that, if I thought that was going to be really gross, my son gave me this for my birthday back in July. And this, ladies and gentlemen, pint glass, and a pint of Holy Grail. And I haven't opened this yet. It's 4.7%, golden ale tempered over burning witches, it says. And it's by the Black Sheep Company. I was going to drink that. Oops. I was going to drink that if I didn't think the beer was any good. Sorry, the Rowie Bush is any good. But do you know what? I don't drink very much now. Can't understand why that won't go in. I don't drink very much, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment. So, this Rowie Bush is actually not... It's not what I would drink. Definitely, I would not drink this ordinarily. Especially as it's against oxidants. And I quite like oxidants. I keep getting people ringing me up saying, "You've had an oxidant." I said, "Really? I've had an oxidant?" They said, "Yes. You could claim against it." I said, "I want to have a claim against it. I've got some tea that's against oxidants as it is." I'm going to have some more of this muck. Shove some of that in there, look. So it's not... Now, Nigel Sandler's not a great fan of Rowie Boss, Rowie Boo, Rowie whatever it is. He doesn't like it. He says it's undrinkable. But I can tell you, the tea, the Sussex... They didn't pay me, by the way. Let's just make that clear in case the Advertising Agencies Act comes in and says, "Oh, you know, you've got to..." They just sent this to me free of charge. And I'm not saying whether it's good, bad or indifferent. It's just, it's Rowie Bosch. The Kent and Sussex Tea Company, they do a lot of teas and coffees up there. They also do Rowie Bosch. David Stacey says, "Would you try that, Dad? Would you try..." Where in Sussex says, "The preparation of this reminds me of the quail eggs boiling for about 10 minutes. Yes, we did. I wasn't quite sure I had a boiled quail eggs. I did about 10 minutes. So then they were horrible. I'll never eat those again. Yes, what sort of burnt red flavour I find that it would be for a much weaker brew." James Malcolm says, "There you go. There you go, James Malcolm. Lovely. Thank you for coming along, by the way, James Malcolm." Peter May says, "Oh my God, Richard's going to get drunk again." I'm not drinking the tea. 4% says Kevin Hall. That's weak. No, that's not weak. Not when it comes to beer. That's it's on the lower side. You know, you get 3.5 for beers. 8 is quite strong. But 4.7 is fairly middle of the road. Donny McLeod, I mean, it's not like wine. Wine, because it's per volume, isn't it? You're going to drink a whole pint of... Anyway, it doesn't matter. It says that the pint that makes you say, "Nee." Exactly. Bottle opener would be required. Yes, I do have an emergency bottle opener here, just in case I went for it. Jeff Kellersons, do you guys drink oolong tea on your side of the pond? On the pond. A few times a year, I drink hot tea. That's what I like. Oolong tea. How long do you drink your oolong tea? Too long or not long enough? That's what I want to know. Andy Stacey says, no. Apropos of, it's Rowie Bus and Red Bush. Are they the same? That is a good question. Well, they describe this as Red Bush, and then they call it Rowie Boo. So I don't know if that's... just a trade name or something, you know, a brand name. Yes, they're the same, says Emily Champion. Claire Leach says, "Thanks, guys." Linda Kane says, "Think so." Where in Sussex says, "Vanilla Red Bush. Saw her in a specialist film." Did you? Is that one of those films that they have the undertitles under the title? The super... what do they call the in the subway you get titles, don't you? Malcolm's got a big thumbs up. Mark Selwood even, he says, "When do we see this calendar? When do we see this calendar?" Dean Cooper says, I think he'll stick to Carlsberg and cold cough. No, I don't drink Carlsberg. I don't drink lager and all that crap. This is actually quite tasty. This, bit itchy there now. I've got hairs on my chest, ladies and gentlemen. I've got hairs on my chest, but none on my head. Look. The crown of thistles waving in the air. Wiggly, wiggly, wiggly. Crown of thistles waving in the air. Right, he's teasing us again, Mark. Wearing Sussex, just saw the calendar. Just saw. So, here's the calendar. There is the calendar with the one and only Glenn Johnson on the cover for January. But sent in by the lovely Nigel Sadler, the 2020 official calendar, the Bald Explorer group, with a very lovely, attractive man in the middle with glasses on and an ugly bugger next to him, and two luscious young ladies adjacent to them, which is lovely. I imagine you'd like to have a quick shufti about each different things on the thing. Well, this is a strange setup because we have January, Mr. Sadler, already there, and I had an email from Glenn Johnson once, or a message from Glenn Johnson, who saw that we'd got the new calendar. He says, have I been taken off January then? And Glenn Johnson, no, you're still there in January. You look a little more effeminate, but there you are. That's you, Glenn, dressed as Cynthia Julian. That's the lovely Cynthia Julian. Here is, let's go to the calendar cam. That was Mr. Proudfoot, Lee Proudfoot, who was in the Iron Gorge. He took me around the Iron Gorge. That's February. This is going on the back wall. I had a big one done because people will see it better. Here for March, we've got the two Johns, John Mays and John. Don't tell me what his name is, but I've temporarily forgotten it. John Thingamajig. He's a very nice bloke. The chap with the Sussex accent, John. It'll come back to me. He's a lovely, very lovely man, John Thingy. In April, we have. I need to come over that way. Actually, I could just angle the camera better. There we are. In April, we have the lovely Liz Housden, and this is where we went on the Isle of Wight, which was very nice. Thank you very much. Don't know who this disreputable person is with me. He is an important fellow in May. I think he's about to do the May dancing, but it's very nice to see him doing that, so that was very good. And unfortunately for him, joining me at the Devil's at Durdle Door, the lovely Dave Ford, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Ford, his dog is not with us on that occasion, but there's us, and there's the door that the Durdle went through. Lovely, lovely, lovely Durdle went through that door. And who do you suppose could possibly be on this one? Well, let me tell you, it's beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it, Richard? It's beautiful. Over there, it's beautiful. This is the lovely Mark Selwood with me, and I think we're at Mousehole. Mousel, Richard, Mousel. Oh, sorry, Mousel. The lovely Mark Selwood and I at Mousel, or Mousehole, as it is often known. In August, we had someone who took me to a very interesting place that I fell in love with immediately. Oh, aye, Richard. Oh, aye. Up north. There, for the viewers, is the lovely Robert Croser at my favourite theme park. I'm waggling it about. That's August, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That's August. And there's me in my cowboy hat because I thought we were going to a ranch. So that's all good. We come to September now, ladies and gentlemen. September, and the one and only Mr. Suggett is here. This is in Littlehampton, at the Littlehampton Pond. We were having a laugh there, and Mr. Suggett is showing off his breasts, which was nice to see. and I was pleased to see them. In October, we have, for your delectation, the lovely Mark English. Get that the right way round. Mark English, ladies and gentlemen. What month is that? That's October. This is so exciting, isn't it? It's so thrilling. Thrilling. Gripping YouTubeisms today. We've got a couple more to go, obviously, as it's October. Who will be next? Who is next? And here, for your entertainment value, here he is. Thinking he heard a ghost, ladies and gentlemen, in Norfolk, of all places. It's, hello, Richard. Kevin here. There he is. The lovely Kevin Hall. Hello, Richard. Kevin here. Look at that. I heard a ghost just there. Really? I really did. Oh, bless him. Copies of this calendar are available for $29.99, and maybe a bit less. And finally, in December, we have my favourite co-star, I have to say that or she'll slap me, is the lovely Julia, making sure that the daft idiot next to her can steer a canal boat correctly. And that is December. Why it says December 2019 on it, I don't know. Because that's out of date. That, Mr. Sadler, is out of date. Why does that say December? That's December 2019. But anyway. Finally, for January 21, we have the whole walking group. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? That's next year, a year today. That will be on the front cover. But yes, apparently it's December. I didn't notice it. Did anyone else notice that? Everyone else was looking at the lovely Julia. 2020. Hang on, I've got to go and have a look on these. 2021. December 2019. Mr. Sadler, you're cocked up there. You're cocked up. Oops, he says. We know what you meant. It's perfectly fine. Don't panic. Isn't that lovely? That is absolutely stunning. And do you know the great thing? In all honesty, I know I'm mucking about because this is the Vobes show, but in all honesty, this is quite tasty. No, but in all honesty, what a reminder of last year, the very lovely people that I managed to work with who put up with me last year, and a memory of all the places that we went to. And so this year, we're only in January, we're only the 8th into it, but this year we've got to match that. We've got to go to more interesting places, meet up with the same old team, lovely team that they are, and others, and create some nice pictures and put them up. So there you go. So that was great. Very quickly, we did have the alternative. The alternative was this one. Here it is. The Board Explorer 2020, the alternative one. So these were just pictures of nature and places that we went to. And I don't know whether people would recognise any of these things. I think I would even have a problem recognising some of the pictures of places that we went to. That looks like Cowdrey, doesn't it? That one, I think, was up near in Kent, wasn't it? Was that the one in Kent that we saw? That's on one of the walks. That's a nice tree. But anyway, so I haven't shown all of those because the one with the people in are interesting because they're people. People like looking at pictures with people in. It's just a fact. Sorry, I've missed all the comments. Hey, Vobes, just went to order a pint from the bar. Meant to come straight back, but got talking to someone back now. Lovely to see you, Robert Baxter. Mark says, dyslexic fingers today. Sorry about that. Kevin all says, yes, I saw it. LOL. Floating our boat. We're all behind on narrow boats. Yes, we're we're all behind on narrow boats. I suppose that's true. You're always behind somebody else, aren't you? I'm hoping to be on a narrow boat again this year. We're going to book. Hey, float in your boat. We're going to book another week. I don't know if we could book 10 days or just to make it longer, or 2 weeks. Where would you suggest would be the next Bald Explorer goes on a canal boat? Which canal is it worth going and having a look at? Because I want to start thinking about that now. It'll have to be in the off-peak season. I don't want to pay, the normal stupid prices. I'm not yet in the position to buy a canal boat, unfortunately. Would love to. But there's too many other weird commitments going on at the moment. But would like to eventually, at some point, buy one. But we want to experience a bit more. I want to go through a few more canals, maybe a more narrow, not too narrow, but a narrow boat on a narrow canal. Kevin Hall says, "Well done, Nigel." Nigel Sandler says, "It took bloody ages, mostly trying to choose from the hundreds of photos." Yes, that's a bit of a hard thing. Nice work. Everyone's praising Nigel. It's all good. Well done, Nigel. Emily Champion. Vobes, I'm inviting you to film me doing the Beachy Head Marathon. Oh, when are you doing the Beachy Head Marathon? And where are you doing it? More to the point. Maybe at Beachy Head, I suppose. But make sure you don't run the wrong way, because you'll be going along the coast, presumably, not up to it and turning around and coming back. Because, if you don't stop in time, if the momentum keeps you going, it might not just be Beachy Head, it might be Beachy the whole body. Nigel Sadler says, "Pictures of trees by members of the group." Oh, yes, so you might remember your own tree in that. "I prefer the trees at times, to be honest," says the lovely Julia. Of course, I might let you have this then, lovely Julia, and you could keep that one. I enjoy the people. To me are important because the people, it just reminds me of the fun we had. Nigel says, "All the people in the pictures are Richard's BE Group Facebook page mastheads. There are hundreds to choose from as he changes them every day, sometimes twice a day." It's true. Robert says, "Grand Union Canal." Linda Kane says, "They don't cause too much float." It says Peak District. Oh, Peak Forest. Peak Forest, definitely. Peak Forest. Where's the Peak Forest? Is that in the... Peak, in the Peak District, is it? Peak Forest, is that a canal? Peak Forest, and I heard of that. That sounds fascinating. Oh, it's not in the Forest of Dean. No, there's no canals in the Forest of Dean, is there? Grand Union, says Robert Croser. Nigel Sadler says, "The tree one is for you, Julia." The tree one is for Julia. Oh, well, that's all right. I like the one of me, Nigel. Very flattering. Thank you very much. Yes, it was beautiful, Mark. Beautiful, isn't it, Richard? It's beautiful. It was beautiful. So Grand Union or the Liverpool Leeds. I just watched a video with floating their boat when they were coming out of Leeds, I think it was, and you said that the backdrop to it was the sirens going backwards and forwards. Julia says, "Way, thank you." Robert Croser says, "I want a Moobs picture if I add 'em," he says. Oh, yes. Barbara Charles says, "I'm a subscriber to Float Your Boats channel. Lovely people." They are lovely people. And I've been watching. I confess I haven't seen every one, but I've been dipping in and out like you do with videos. And it's fantastic to see your journey. And you're so positive about everything, which is superb. And it's lovely to see. I can't remember the name of your dog now, but it's lovely to see the dog being walked on the bank and all of that. Yes, Derbyshire. It's gorgeous. Peak Forest. Julia, make a note of that. Peak Forest. We will go on the Peak Forest Canal. That would be great. Grand Union, I could visit. Grand Union. He's going on and on about the Grand Union. Like the canal, says Claire Leach. So thank you, Claire. That's very kind. I could do with a bit more of this Rory Boo tea. So there we go. What is your favourite tea? Apart from ordinary bog standard tea, what is your favourite tea? Do you have a favourite tea that's a little bit different from everybody else? A lot of people like Earl Grey, of course. What about Lady Grey? She's very nice. Catch her in the right mood, of course. Robert Baxter says, "Floating our boat, we're going from Heritage Marine in Shola Green, if you know where that is." When are you going, Robert Baxter? We'll get in our... coracles and come after you, Hawaii 5-0 fashion. Ba 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 bum bum bum. Ba 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 bum bum. Mind you, if you do that in a coracle, you'll be doing this all day long. Ba 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 bum bum. Ba 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 rum bum ba da ba bum ba bum bum zam. Ba da ba da ba da bum ba dum. Ba da ba da ba da bum ba bum bum bum. Ba 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 bum bum. Book him, Dano. Oh, I used to love that. I just watched it for that final scene where he would say, "Book him, Dano." What was his name? What was the lead actor in Hawaii Five-0? Steve somebody or other. It came up Steve. I can't remember his name now. I used to know that. And all of this, they never did any of that. It was a bit of a misnomer, wasn't it? Steve McGarrett. I've got it. Steve McGarrett. Gosh, how these memories work. You never saw Steve McGarrett and the other fella, Danny. Book him, Dano. You never saw them in a canoe, did you? Linda Kane, Grey Lady. Lady Grey is how much? How much is that doggy in the window? The one called Logan. I've got Logan, sit. Yes, little Logan's popped over. He's not in the show at the moment. Ed Loud says, I drink Rui Brew as I had to lay off caffeine. Lady Grey is nice, though. Weirdly, I discovered it from an Oasis song. Oh, yeah. Was it the Wonderwall? You're my Wonderwall. How does that one go? You're my Wonderwall. I wonder why. You're my Wonderwall. I've often wondered why I drink Lady Grey. Something like that, isn't it, Oasis? Nigel Santos says sage and rosemary with a dash of Earl Grey. Isn't it the other way round? Earl Grey with a dash of rosemary and bergamot. That's always quite nice. I like a bit of bergamot. I go down to Burger King, see if they've got any scraps, and I boil that up and I shove a little bit of Lord Grey in there and it works quite nice. Donny McLeod says nettle and rosehip days on days of low salts. Low salts? Is that when the tide's out? James Edmonds is also singing. Robert Bax says, Lady Grey, a weaker version of Earl Grey. Well, Earl Grey, I think, had the bergamot, didn't it? But I don't think Lady Grey has the bergamot in it. I think it probably has a McDonald's mont in it. I'm not sure. Ham mont, probably. Dave Ford says, you just woke Logan up. Got to let him out now. Logan, go out and do a whoopsie. There we are. Hang on, I'll help you with that. Alexa, open the door. Open the door and let the dog out. Does your Alexa do that? Alexa, shut up. Dean Cooper, the Bald Explorer walking group could create a calendar from the group photos. Sisbury Ring will be the best for me. Is that because you're in it, Dean? No, we've got one. We've got a calendar now. We don't need another calendar. How many calendars do you need? Claire Leach says Mike Flowers Pops covered Wonderwall by Oasis. He did. Mike Pops. Mike, I actually, do you know, Mike Flowers Pops, I got in touch with him. I did email him and asked him to do a walk, and he lives somewhere near Croydon. And he got back in touch with me a couple of years ago. Now, it was last year, actually. It was last year. And I have got a number of his songs because he also did the In Crowd. Da 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 da. You know, you're in with the In Crowd. He covered that. He covered, lovely Julia knows this because she had subjected to it. I know a groovy place. that one, groovy. He wrote that one, and a whole host of others. And yes, the Wonderwall, he did that. And actually, there's a story that the ginger, what's his name? That ginger Radio 2 presenter that no longer presents Radio 2, and tried to do the first gear, fifth gear, fourth gear, whatever gear it was, Top Gear. There we are. What was his name? He had a name, didn't he? He had a name, but I don't know what it. I think he's lost his name. What was that name of the guy who would? Anyway, he used to tell his listeners, he would put it on, and he said that Mike Flowers Pops was the original, and that Oasis did an updated version of it because Mike Flowers Pops starts with this sound of a scratchy record on it. It's very, very good. You just set my Alexa off. I'm so sorry about that. Alexa, play Mike Flowers Pops Wonderwall. Oh, if only I could remember how it goes. Yeah, Mike Flowers, I've just read that. Dean Cooper says that was another theme, but there have been only 10 walks. Oh, well, we couldn't do it, you see. L Wolf says he did light my fire. Yes, it's a good version of Light My Fire. I like that. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Yeah, that's very good. Chris Evans, there we are. That's right. He's got a name as well. As a dribbling ginger bloke with glasses. He looks very old now, doesn't he? Chris Evans, my goodness. I think he's forgotten his toothbrush. He probably needs a good brushing. Stephen Agger says, I've got a lovely sunset picture of a sunset off Sisbury Ring for January. Ah, isn't that nice? That's lovely. I've got a nice picture of Sisbury Ring covered in fog when I went up there and got completely lost. Fell off the end, rolled down the hill, bumped into Charles Goring as he was climbing up, the ghost of Charles Goring, obviously, with a bucket load of water to water his beloved beaches. And I told him, no need to bother, those beaches blew down in 1987, mate. And he said, oh, that's a shame, if only. He says, I'll go and water the Roman temple instead. He couldn't do that because the Iron Age hill fort protectors were out there with their spears going, oi, get off my land, they said. Patrick Rose says, come on, babyish, my Essie. What? Yes. Fid says, lovely Julia. I'm not quite sure what that means. Did. Dean Cooper says, lots of people were in it, Richard. Yes, I know. Have some rowy boo and calm down. So Mark Selwood says, how do we order this? How do we order the calendar? Well, I do have some small versions of the calendars, ladies and gentlemen, here in these envelopes, which we were going to keep for competition purposes because they're expensive to do. The little diddy ones here, which with a hole in so that you can hang them up like that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And it has all the pictures in them. But I've got a very limited number of those. And the lovely Julia and I will work out, maybe Nigel Sandler, will work out how we're going to dish them out, because there may be a lot of people who would like them, but he's sent them in envelopes already. I noticed he didn't put any stamps on them, which is a shame. It means I'll have to... Oh, there's another one. I think there's 5. There's 5 here. Very exciting. Anyway, we've run out of time now, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great show, hasn't it? Hasn't it been a good show? Oh, it's been a lovely show. We've tried some Rowie Bosch. We've almost set the place on fire again. We very nearly had some Monty Python's ale. We nearly escaped from that. We've enjoyed that. We've looked at the calendar. We've had a good old chinwag for an hour. We've had a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of fun. And the lovely Julia is going to be here on Friday. So tune in for Friday. Ed Loud, she says, that's only fair as I got him into some of the music I listen to. Yes, it's very true. I listen to a lot of the lovely Julia's music, which I now listen to more of that. But I do like Mike Flowers Pops, and it came out in the 80s, and his stuff was a bit of a piss take of the lounge music in the old days, which is why he took an Oasis song and did that about, every road is whining and the lights that light the way are blinding. And there are certain things I would say to you. I can't even remember the tune now. Where did you get that fantastic tie? Where did you get that fantastic tie? Where did you get that tie? I can't tell you, actually. We went through that at the beginning of the show. It was either tie rack or bootstrap or, I don't know, dentures for you. Something like that. Mark Selwood says that was a super show for the previous 62 minutes. Yes, it's all going downhill. Calm down with the Vobes. What could be better? Thank you very much, Dean. What a lovely bloke. Floating Our Boat says, we're back. Had to show Fran Mike Pops. Oh, yes, Mike Pops. She'll love that. She'll like that. Absolutely brilliant. Come on, baby, light my fire. He also did the Red Velvet, the Velvet Underground, or whatever they're called. Can you remember that? The Velvet Underground, and he did the Don't Cry for Me, Argy Bargy. You know I never wanted you to, and now you have. I've got no hanky, just a load of panky. Don't cry for me, Mrs. Worthington. Andrew Norris, he says, hello, everyone, just arrived. Damn it, the show is about to end. We were just waiting for you, Andrew, to arrive so that we can say bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. It's been so wonderful to see you, all the lovely people. ASMR show on Friday, Richard, says the lovely Julia. ASMR show on Friday. I don't know what that means. Is that thing about the creepy sounds, Julia? Is that the thing where it's like you scratch things like this, sound effects? Julia was showing me some videos where people were, it was just, I don't know, they were standing next to microphones going, and she said she gave it some initials like GRPMB or something, and people would. And do you know what? These YouTube videos of people just doing... I mean, I go walking in the countryside. I go in the car. I drive several miles, sometimes lots of miles, different parts of the countryside. I walk about every day, and I present a video of me doing all of that. And then and I get, we've got up to 8,000 subscribers on the Bald Explorer YouTube channel. Then I do this, and I do all this, and I, drink disgusting teas for your entertainment, and I look at some fantastic calendars and, nearly set fire to myself. And yet, on the internet, you'll find somebody somewhere taking a simple thing like this and going, just watch the eye. Watch the eye. Notice that just one eye moves then. And people do that, and they've got, 80,000 viewers watching somebody. Beggars belief. You just think, I'm doing it all wrong. Meanwhile, everyone's saying good night. Oh, right, okay. You know when you're not wanted. It's when the audience is saying, you're carrying on talking. Everyone else is going, yeah, well, anyway, good night. Yeah, good night. Yeah, quick, let's get out of here. He's going on. He's having a rant. He's stepping on an ant. He's having a rant. I draw the line on Vobes branded underwear, says Mike. Is that where you draw the line? Is it? My little face on your wife fronts, my face going... That's what he wants. Andrew Norris says, I'll catch up later. There we are. Bye-bye, everyone. Everyone's telling me they've got to go. So I've seen someone reviewing videos, and she has over 50k subscribers. Yeah, there is you cannot work out what works in this game. You cannot work it out. I thought gargling in a live show would do it. And a couple of weeks ago, you caught me... But that doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. Gargling. Where else would you see gargling with rooibos tea? You wouldn't. Anyway, gotta go. People to see, phone calls to like, messages to eat, cheese to gobble, and heads to roll. So don't forget to tune in on Friday. There is another video from the Bald Explorer, not tapping and rubbing things against microphones, you'll be pleased to know, but actually interviewing sensible people about interesting things. Until the next show, it's been lovely to see you. Thanks very much for everybody coming in. Linda Kane says, or show us your makeup routine. I will show you my makeup routine, which is very long and intensive. There's a lot of latex involved in that, and a bit of rubbing of the feet, but we won't go into that. Mark, who was that? I'd like to see Richard's vid reviewed. Until next time, goodbye!